Hey, Mini Modular Guy here. You may have seen my Maldives water villa that I've recently submitted for the Bricklink Designer Programme Series 5. You can see it on the screen here. It's getting quite a lot of love on Instagram, Facebook, etc. So please do give it a vote on the Bricklink Designer Programme website. Head to the link that's in the description or on my Instagram. Do follow me on Instagram as well, where you'll see all the latest news on it. On Instagram, I am at Lego Tromans. Please do follow me there. So as part of creating this design, I decided I wanted some 3D animations for it as well. You'll see one of them on the screen here. You'll see them on YouTube, on my other videos, and you'll see it on the page on the Bricklink Designer Programme. So to create those animations, I took the time to learn Blender from scratch. I'd never come across it before. It's a free 3D animation program which you can create all kinds of animations in 3D. You can create your own objects in the program. What I decided to do obviously is bring the file out of Lego Studio where I designed it into Blender itself. There were some complications in that, trying to bring it out of Studio into Blender. I will cover those in another video. But fundamentally I took the time to learn Blender to create the animations I wanted to for this Bricklink Designer Programme Series 5 entry. So I wanted to show you a bit of behind the scenes of my Maldives water villa in Blender itself. So we're going to minimize this, and as you can see here, you can see the Maldives water villa in Blender. I'll walk you around the user interface in Blender in a second, but if I spin around the model, you can see all the bits that I've already shared in Lego Studio software on YouTube. If I can have a look above, it's brought the whole model in there, minifigures and everything. So if we have a quick wander around the UI, on the right here, on the top right, we have our object hierarchy. So we can see the Maldives water villa itself there. We've got some various key lights coming in from different directions to give the lighting. We've got the camera there as well, and the cube object here is, as you'll see when I flip into render preview mode, is the water texture you'll have seen in the animations as well, some of the animations. You will also see lots and lots on the right hand side of point lights that I've added. Every one of those point lights is inside one of the 1x1 stunts in trans yellow, which are essentially all the lights around the model here you'll see on the sides of the buildings, on the walkway and on the front of the pool terrace at the front here. They've got what's called point lights in, and they are producing the light that you'll see in the animations that's essentially making it look like these are little lights in the model. So if I flip into render preview mode, let's get back to the model itself. If I go into render preview mode, it'll take a little bit of time because it's running through the samples of the render. And again, we can see this model, it takes a little bit more time to rotate obviously the model because it's trying to render each frame each time. So we can see here, you can see here all the point lights on the 1x1 studs here are glowing in this. And in the final renders, if you do a final render with a lot more samples and a lot more quality, you'll see those really well. You'll see all those in the animations I've shared on Instagram and YouTube, and also the pictures I've shared on Instagram as well of the Lego Maldives water villa. So what I wanted to do is I'm going to flip back into viewport shading mode in solid mode and walk you through how to create a really simple animation. So a lot of the animations I've done so far are kind of spinning the object around, spinning the camera around. One animation I really wanted to do was to walk through from the back of the villa down the path down the middle of the villa. So I've already set my camera in the right position for the first frame of this. So if we go into camera view mode here, you'll see I've switched into camera view mode and it's showing me what the camera will see if I render the model now and the start of the animation. So to create animations, I've gone into animation mode and you will see down the bottom here, I've chosen to do 120 frames for this animation. I'm on frame 1. This is going to be a very simple, what's called a location transformation animation. So I'm not moving the camera around in a circle or anything like that. I'm just moving the camera from one point to the next in the model itself. So what I'm going to do to set up this first called keyframe of this animation is press the key button, the K button on the keyboard, sorry. And I'm going to choose a location keyframe. And again, I'm just moving the camera from one point to the next in the animation. I'm not rotating it around, otherwise I'd choose rotation. I'm not scaling that camera at all. For example, if I was doing a location move and a rotation of the camera, I would choose location and rotation, but mine is purely a location transformation, so I'm going to choose location. That sets up my first frame. Now what I want to do is I want to go to the last frame of my animation, 120, and I want to move the camera to the position I want it to be in at the end of the animation. There's lots of different ways of doing this, but the way I'm going to choose to keep it simple is I'm just going to zoom above the model. And you will see I've got the camera selected on the right hand side. I'll move down a little bit, and I'm just going to move the camera along this line up here, so along this kind of plane. So I'm going to go into move mode. I just need to check which line, so it's the red line I want to be moving when I'm looking at it above. So I want to move the camera from about here through the model, probably over to about here, I would have said, and it's going to be looking out over the sea, over the ocean, to finish it. So I've moved that camera. I now need to set that as my last keyframe, so I'm going to press the K on the keyboard again, and I'm going to, as I did last time, choose location as the type of keyframe. So now I've got my two keyframes, as you can see down the bottom of it. So I can now, if I go back to camera view with this button here, I can go back to the beginning one, and I can actually press play to see what that animation looks like going through. So press play, it's going to walk through the model nice and smoothly, end up at the end. It will replay that animation over and over again until I pause. But when I'm happy with it and I've got it in the right place, so I will do another YouTube video after this one to show you what I want to do is actually run through the model there with this location transformation, 2 keyframes there over 120 frames. And at the end of that, I will rotate the camera and come back again. So I'll do that in another YouTube video. It's really just showing you this, the simple approach of just a very quick location animation. So we'll just play that again. It's going to walk through the model, nice and smooth. I will stop it there. I now want to output that animation. So to do that, we're going to check the output folder. So it is currently looking at not the folder I want, so I'm going to go back into here. I'm going to bring that window on. I want to look, let's go zooming through model. So I've created a folder already called zooming through the model. That's what we're doing down this middle path. And as is well advised when you're creating these kind of animations, don't create it at the moment as a MP4 file, so a video file. Actually, you want to create it as individual frames in image format. So I'm going to end up with 120 separate images in a folder, and I then use Blender again, which again I'll show you in another YouTube video, to actually create the animation from that sequence of images. So I'm just going to choose the source images folder here and make sure that's right. So I've got my source images folder here. I've got 120 frames. I've got the render samples at 300. I found that's okay for the animations I'm doing. That will still take probably about 2.5 to 3 hours of rendering time. So this is what I'm going to just set to go overnight. In the morning when I wake up, fire up the MacBook Pro. I will have all those images ready to put into an animation. And again, I will walk through another YouTube video tomorrow on how to actually produce a video file from that. So I'm going to finish this video here. The last step would be to basically choose the render animation from the render menu. That will start it at the actual animation off, and it will slow down my Mac. So I'm going to leave it there for the moment. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Again, I will do another couple of videos on the export from Lego Studio software, import into Blender, because I had some complications there that a lot of people do, and I'll do a video on how I had to do that. I will also then do another video to show you that rotation animation at the end of this sequence and join the two together with something like iMovie is what I've been using. So thanks for watching this one. Again, I will show you more videos. Please do follow me on Instagram at Lego Traymans. Subscribe to me on my YouTube channel and you'll get a lot more videos to do with the Maldives water villa and a lot more Instagram posts and reels to do with the Lego Maldives water villa on those platforms. Speak soon.